Rivera's pulse thudded in her ears. The kid, somewhere out there, alone. And if Briggs had his way, that boy would disappear forever. The FBI team swarmed the station, cuffing officers left and right. But Rivera wasn't celebrating. She was already moving. Her gut told her the trail was going cold, fast. She pulled the youngest agent aside. Where was he last seen? Unfinished warehouse, South Dock, he said. But when we got there, empty. Rainwater dripped from his hair. You think Alton's moving him? Rivera didn't answer. She didn't need to. The look in her eyes said it all. She grabbed her coat and was halfway to the door when a voice stopped her. Briggs. Even in handcuffs, he found a way to smirk. You'll never find him. Rivera stepped close, her voice low. You already lost, Captain. Then she turned and froze. Through the glass doors parked across the street, a black luxury sedan, windows tinted, engine running. Her heart tightened because she knew that silhouette in the back seat. Raymond Alton, hands folded, watching her. The car pulled away slow, almost taunting. Rivera bolted outside, splashing through the rain, but by the time she reached the curb, it was gone. She got into her SUV, tires spinning on the wet asphalt. Her phone buzzed. An unmarked number. She answered. A distorted voice came through the line. If you want the boy alive, come alone. Click. Dead air. Rivera sat in the dark SUV, rain hammering the roof, the city blurring beyond her windshield. She could feel the trap closing in, but if she waited for backup, the kid might not see morning. She put the car in gear and drove straight into the storm. What she didn't know? Someone was already following her. The wipers fought the rain, but it was like driving through a waterfall. Street lights smeared into streaks of gold and white. Rivera's fingers gripped the wheel so tight, her knuckles burned. She replayed the call in her head. If you want the boy alive, come alone. Her gut twisted. Alone meant no backup, no safety net, and no margin for error. She could have called it in anyway, but she knew how Alton played this game. The moment he smelled an ambush, he'd vanish into the shadows, and the boy would vanish with him. For good. The GPS took her deeper into the industrial district. Warehouses hunched in the dark, their windows boarded, and their metal sidings streaked with rust. It was the kind of place screams wouldn't carry far. She parked in an alley, killed the engine, and stepped out into the downpour. Her janitor's jumpsuit was gone, replaced with a black tactical jacket, but the same steel lived in her eyes. A figure waited under a flickering streetlight, tall, broad-shouldered, face hidden beneath a hood. He gestured silently for her to follow. Rivera kept her distance, her boots splashing through puddles. They reached a steel door. The man banged twice, paused, then banged once more. It opened to a narrow hallway lit by buzzing fluorescent lights. The air smelled like mold and gasoline. Two more men stepped out of the shadows, frisking her for weapons. They didn't find the small blade strapped to her ankle, or the slim tracker hidden inside her jacket zipper. The hooded man led her into a cavernous warehouse, and there, under the cold glare of a single hanging bulb, sat the boy, hands bound, hood pulled over his head, but she could see the tremble in his shoulders. Alton stood just behind him, perfectly pressed suit, not a drop of rain on him, like the storm itself wouldn't dare touch him. "Well," Alton said smoothly, "our ghost of a janitor finally steps out of the shadows." Rivera's eyes locked on the boy. "What do you want?" Alton circled her like a shark. "You have something of mine." Rivera frowned. "I don't work for you." "No," Alton said, smiling, "but you have my files. Briggs told me before your friends took him away, and I can't have you breathing with that kind of knowledge." She kept her voice even. "Then you shouldn't have left so much evidence lying around." His smile vanished. "You think I don't clean my messes? I've been cleaning them longer than you've been wearing a badge." He snapped his fingers. One of his men yanked the boy to his feet, shoving him forward. "Here's the deal, Agent. You give me the files, you both walk away, refuse, and you leave alone." Rivera's mind ran the math. Her team was miles away. Her tracker would only work if she could stall long enough for them to home in on her signal. But the boy's legs were shaking. He didn't have long. She took a slow breath. "All right," she said. "I'll take you to them." Alton tilted his head. "Now." They moved toward the exit. Rivera stumbled intentionally near a stack of crates, sending one crashing to the floor. The noise was deafening. The men cursed, guns swinging toward the sound. In that split second, she pulled the blade from her ankle and sliced the boy's bindings. "Run!" she hissed. The boy bolted toward the far end of the warehouse. Shouts exploded. Two men chased after him. Rivera ducked behind a forklift as a bullet ripped past her ear. She yanked her gun from the back of her waistband, hidden where the friskers hadn't checked. 2 shots. 2 men down. Alton was already moving, slipping toward a side door. Rivera gave chase, boots pounding on the wet concrete. They burst into the alley, rain blinding her. A car roared to life nearby. Black sedan, engine snarling. Alton yanked the back door open, but Rivera was faster. She slammed into him, both of them hitting the pavement hard. The driver bolted, tires screaming, as the sedan vanished into the night. Alton tried to reach for his gun. Rivera's boot came down on his wrist, hard. He gasped, the first crack in his composure. "You're done," she growled. His lips curled into a smirk, even as she cuffed him. "You think you've won? You just stepped into something you don't understand." She hauled him to his feet, just as black SUVs swarmed the alley. Her team poured out, weapons ready. The boy was with them, soaked, shaking, but alive. For a moment, relief broke through the adrenaline. Justice. Finally. They loaded Alton into the back of an SUV, his eyes locked on hers through the rain. Not fear, not anger, something worse. Confidence. Back at the precinct, now in federal control, Rivera dropped into a chair, exhaustion hitting her like a wave. The boy sat beside her, wrapped in a blanket. "You're safe now," she told him. He nodded slowly. "Am I? Because one of them, he said they have more kids." Her stomach tightened. She leaned forward. What did he look like? The boy's voice dropped to a whisper. He wasn't a cop. He wore a suit and a black glove on his left hand. Rivera froze. That wasn't Alton. That was someone else. Someone she'd only heard about in rumors. The man in the shadows. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. A text. You took my pawn. Now I'll take your queen. Her blood went cold. This wasn't over. But for tonight, the janitor had swept the floor clean.